I invite Victor Kazanjian, Dean of Intercultural Education and Religious and Spiritual Life, to deliver the invocation.
From acorns to oaks, from seeds to seniors, my, have you grown. It seems like such a long time ago, but also just yesterday, that you first settled into this Wellesley forest green, planting your roots in her rich soil. From those first days onward, you stretched your branches towards the light of knowledge, and let that illumination grow to this point where you are now ready to be transplanted to places far and wide, to find new homes, new spaces of growing, working, learning, and living. Today is a day to celebrate you and all of your growth that has taken place during your time here and led us to this moment of commencement. Today is a day to give thanks for the gift of this place, Wellesley College, the ground beneath our feet, the garden plentiful, where you have grown for a time. Today is a day to express gratitude for those surrounding you, family, friends, faculty, staff, trustees, and sister and sibling students who watered your roots in times of dryness and propped you up after stormy winds blew through. Today is a day to admire you, green sisters and siblings of the class of 2013. And so, invoking all the energies and powers of life and spirit, let us commence this ceremony of endings and beginnings. Let us acknowledge the cycles of growth that have brought you here. Let us be grateful that all that has been given to us. Let us be mindful of those who struggle and suffer in places near and far. And let us be filled with a sense of wonder and awe on your commencement day.
Thank you, Dean Kazanjian. On behalf of the trustees, the faculty, the staff, the alumni, and the Wellesley College class of 2013, it is my privilege to welcome you to the college's 135th commencement exercises. Assembled here in the academic quad are the guests of our graduates, the proud mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, and extended family members and friends, and for the 14 Davis Scholars, partners, spouses, and children. Also assembled here today are the graduates themselves, the Wellesley class of 2013. They are ready to graduate. They are excited and proud and probably a little bit nervous. Seniors, as you look around at your Wellesley family congregated here on this beautiful academic quad, recall how much you have experienced and learned during your time at Wellesley. I know you have a great appreciation for the people who have supported you during your time at Wellesley, family and friends, faculty and staff. Seniors, I invite you to stand and express your gratitude to them. Thank you, seniors. I would also like to take a moment for us to collectively acknowledge and show support for your 9 classmates who are missing today's ceremony because they are representing Wellesley College at the NCAA National Championship in crew this weekend. Our crew class of 2013 joins an elite class of Wellesley athletes to earn NCAA team appearances in each of their seasons in blue. Now I'm pleased to invite Vivian Hu, co-president of the class of 2013, to the stage to introduce our student speaker. Vivian.
On behalf of the 2013 Class Council, my co-president, Anushi Sufian, and I would like to extend a warm welcome to all the friends and family that have come today to support the Emerald Green Class of 2013. Also, a huge thank you to all the esteemed faculty who over the past 4 years have taught us how to think about the world with fresh perspective and open our minds to the unexplored. We're pleased to present our student speaker this year, Nuha Khan, an economics major hailing from Pakistan. Nuha was chosen for her infectious enthusiasm and lightheartedness. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to our wonderful speaker. Please give her a hand.
Thank you, Vivian. Members of the Board of Trustees, President Bottomley, faculty, staff, families, guests, and my fellow graduates, welcome. This might sound slightly weird, but I'm going to start by telling you what this speech is not about. I'm not going to reiterate what bright and successful futures we all will have. Trust me, it's given. Nor I'm going to give you any advice on how to deal with the practical world. Honestly, I desperately need it myself. And I'm definitely not going to dwell on women who will. Because in my mind, we already have. We are here. We are the graduating class of 2013. Instead, I'm going to go all Wendy Wellesley on you and walk you through a simple regression. Yes, the economist in me is finally out of the paramecium pond. So, what is a regression? A regression, as my econometrics professor will say, is a statistical technique for estimating relationships among variables. Think of how more snow days make happier Wellesley students. There's a direct relation right there, which can be captured by this technique. But today, the metaphorical regression that I would like to run analyzes the relationship between the people we have become owing to the unique experiences we had during our time at Wellesley. Wellesley has shaped us into remarkable individuals, each one of us being a distinct data point in this regression. But at this hour of happiness, we should not forget the absence of one of those points, a Wellesley sister whose loss has made us all realize the importance of this siblinghood. Adeyasifa, you're missed. Let us also not forget the victims of the recent tragedies, both in Boston and around the world, and hope that instead of fostering a culture of fear, these events make us stronger and even more united, just as we are united today to celebrate the graduation of class of 2013. So, 4 years, that's a long time. Keeping our regression metaphor alive, let us explore the independent or X variables and see what did we learn in the past 4 years. We learned to speak our minds, but at the same time, listen to others, to appreciate different cultures, languages, and habits, and to be tolerant and respectful of everyone's opinions. We learned that it is always a bad idea to start a 10-page paper the night before it's due, and that Stone Davis elevators are very unpredictable. We learned to make memes thanks to a certain male exchange student who shall not be named. And that many of us are still wary to uninstall first class from our computers. Our 4 years at Wellesley have been turbulent for sure, but not in a, oh my God, I'm stuck in the middle of the sea with a tiger sort of way, but like an exciting ride down Severance Green. Wellesley has enabled us to have a deep and profound understanding of the world. It has not only provided us with great education, but some quirky and awkward growing experiences, opportunities to meet some truly amazing people, and countless firsts that we will cherish and build upon as we go forth. For all of us, Wellesley was a constant learning adventure, both inside and outside of the classroom. I feel no shame in admitting that when I first came to the States, my biggest fear was ordering coffee from Starbucks. How does one do that? There's so many options. I came as a sheltered young woman whose knowledge mostly came from books. But now, after spending 4 years in college, I have met people from Guernsey to Slovakia, have fallen in love with East Asian cuisines, can talk for at least an hour about Impressionist art, can finally differentiate between the Boston Celtics and the Red Sox, and yes, now I'm a pro at placing orders in Starbucks. I am a changed individual. This is the power of Wellesley. This is the power of us all. In many ways, class of 2013 is the class of change. Sure, Peter Pan has stopped going to Riverside. Wellesley went Sakai, then Zimbra, and then Google, and we now have a leaky beaker in the Science Center. But on a deeper level, we have changed. The people around us have changed, and the world has changed. In a world where corporate structures and cultures work against women and push them back, our iron will has become diamond, and our education has enabled us to fight for equality. Coming from Pakistan and being raised in a family of only daughters, my parents have always taught me to be a strong, independent individual. My mother, sadly, could not attend today's graduation ceremony. She is currently back at home in Pakistan, taking care of my eldest sister, Nida, who has Down syndrome. Both women have been constant sources of love and inspiration for me. My mother has supported and encouraged me at every step, and Nida best knows how to raise my spirits with her laughter and joy. After coming to Wellesley, I saw this love and support everywhere. Having interacted with most passionate people and the best in academia, I have been able to reinforce my beliefs. 4 years ago in Pakistan, I could have only dreamed of this. But now, at Wellesley College, I'm a part of this change. I feel inspired. However, some things still never change. Wellesley's drive for excellence, the compassion and generosity of our professors, getting lost in the maze-like Science Center, the freak out upon getting our first C, my friend's habit of playing video games before every final, and as you might have noticed, my inability to pronounce words with W's. During one of my job interviews, the interviewer asked me, why Wellesley? I looked him straight in the eye and said, I hoped that after 4 years of studying at this college, I'll finally get my W's right. It's Wellesley, not Wellesley, Nuha. My friends always tell me. How come you can't say it right, they ask. Today, while standing before you all, I really want to say this one random thing that I found on the interwebs. Well, when we went walking while watching Wicked Women wash wrecked wallpaper without water, we wondered who would win without wavering. I think I kind of almost got it, but not really. Unfortunately, I did not get that job. But hey, no regrets, right? I mean, if I gave him the real reason, it would seem too good to be true. Not to be narcissistic or anything, but after all, I did go to one of the best women colleges. No, wait, I'm sorry, one of the best colleges. And studied amongst the brightest, future leaders, young scholars, certified scuba divers, wushu experts, chess masters. The list goes on and on. But in all seriousness, the real reason I chose Wellesley was because of you all. My oh-so-perfect data points, which make my regression so smooth and easy to run. And of course, because of my second sister, Sahar, Wellesley class of 09, once told me, "You do realize you get unlimited ice cream here, Nuha." Case closed. I was sold. Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2013. May the rest of the commencement be ever in your favor.
Thank you, Nuha. We now have the opportunity to recognize and congratulate outstanding members of the faculty, recipients of the Teaching Prize, named chairs, and those who are retiring. In my time here, I have observed the dedication of the faculty and the power of their teaching. In my conversations with alumni all over the world, they all have stories of special professors who influenced them. And I know that as seniors, you will reflect back on your time here and you'll be able to recall moments when you were challenged and inspired by members of our faculty. So from all of us assembled here today, to the Wellesley College faculty, thank you for your commitment to the education of the class of 2013. The Pinansky Prize for Excellence in Teaching is awarded each year to honor members of our faculty who have demonstrated excellence as teachers. If you know how outstanding our teaching faculty at Wellesley are, you will know how significant it is to be recognized in this way. According to the rules for the prize, the finalists are selected by a student-faculty committee on the basis of nominations from students, faculty, and staff. Today, we recognize these three teachers. Tracy Gleason, Psychology. Lisa Rudensky, English. Orit Sher, Computer Science. Please join me on the stage. I will now read excerpts from Tracy Gleason's citation. Tracy Gleason has an unconventional method to help her students prepare for their midterm exams. In her developmental psychology course, rather than guiding students through a standard overview of the material covered, she invites several young children and their mothers to class to allow students to test their knowledge of developmental milestones. As one student wrote, she not only wants to help students learn about new areas, She wants to connect these ideas to their lives and challenge their perspectives on the way they see the world. Indeed, Tracy Gleason, who is the Whitehead's Associate Professor of Critical Thought and Associate Professor of Psychology, has a way of motivating her students. One student wrote, "Professor Gleason made sure that we never forgot the big picture and why the research matters. She inspired our class to find the greater meaning in our coursework and the potential for our background in psychology to solve larger social problems." Professor Gleason is known for setting high standards while also being supportive, a combination that empowers students. As one nominator said, "She treated our projects as legitimate research rather than just perfunctory class projects, which changed our perspectives of our work." For inspiring students to reach their highest potential, Wellesley College is proud to award to Tracy Gleason the Anna and Samuel Pinansky Teaching Prize. Now I will read excerpt from Lisa Rudensky's citation. Lisa Rudensky is the kind of English professor that every student should have at least once. As one student wrote, "She reminded me why I was at Wellesley. It's as simple as that." Lisa Rudensky, who is the Barbara Morris Casperson Associate Professor in the Humanities and Associate Professor of English, inspires her students to be better writers, readers, thinkers, and learners. She also motivates them to participate in class, even if they aren't feeling up to the task on a given day. As one student who was having a difficult time in class explained, "I would come to class fully expecting to sit in the back and not say a word, and every day she would manage to bring me into the conversation." Another student said, "She asks you to rise to the challenge and to not give up, but also to be reasonable about what you are trying to do, to realize that sometimes you just need to turn in an essay because it's due and get on with your life." Students appreciate that Professor Rudensky, a Wellesley woman herself, she returned to her alma mater to, as one student nominator wrote, "devote herself to our education with verve and passion." For dedicating herself to teaching in these ways, Wellesley College is pleased to award to Lisa Rudensky the Anna and Samuel Pinansky Teaching Prize. I will now read the excerpts from Orit Scherer's citation. "Students who take Orit Scherer's computer science classes learn much more than what the course descriptions promise. Students learn how to learn. They learn to never stop asking questions, and they learn that you should never shy away from dreaming big." One student nominator said, "With her guidance, I have been able to grow into a better thinker, problem solver, and leader, giving me the skills I need to excel after Wellesley." Orit Scherer is the Claire Booth Luce Assistant Professor of Computer Science, and she serves as a mentor and a role model not only to budding computer scientists, but to other Wellesley students in the STEM fields. As one student wrote, "Before meeting Orit, I had very little direction in my life. She has helped me clarify where my passions lie." Professor Scherer encourages her students to be open to new ideas and opportunities, whether by participating in national student design competitions or through research in her lab, the kind of research that is usually reserved for graduate level students. As one student said, "It is not Orit's dedication to creating next generation interfaces that makes her such a wonderful professor. It is her dedication to creating the next generation of amazing Wellesley graduates." For these many reasons, Orit Scherer is most deserving of the Anna and Samuel Pinansky Teaching Prize. Congratulations again to our Pinansky Prize winners. It is our tradition at commencement to announce the names of faculty being recognized with new appointments to endowed chairs. Today, we recognize 4 faculty members, 3 of whom are here today, and who I will ask to stand so that we can congratulate them. I will ask you to hold your applause until we've recognized all 4 professors. Stanley Chang, Whitehead Associate Professor of Critical Thought. Stacy Goddard, Jane Bishop 51, Associate Professor in Political Science. Mary Kate McGowan, Luella Lemaire Professor of Women's Studies. Mark Tettel, Class of 1966, Associate Professorship. Congratulations to you all. Thank you. In the life of every institution, there's a moment when we must bid farewell to members of our community who have made the decision to retire. The first faculty member I would like to recognize is Nancy Kolodny, who is the Nellie. Nancy is the Nellie Zuckerman Cohen and Ann Cohen Heller Professor of Health Sciences and Professor of Chemistry. She is leaving Wellesley after 44 years of service, including 7 years as Dean of the college. A 1964 graduate of Wellesley College, Nancy has given back to her alma mater in invaluable ways through her teaching, research, leadership, and service. She has been an important contributor and innovator in the chemistry and neuroscience departments, and more generally in support of science at Wellesley and in support of women in science. As Dean of the College from 1992 to 1999, she led the faculty in an extensive review and reform of the curriculum, and through her unrelenting efforts, she helped strengthen the excellent liberal arts education for which Wellesley is known. Nancy, we thank you for your long service to Wellesley, and we wish you all the best. There are 5 additional faculty members who are retiring this year. William Flick Coleman, Professor of Chemistry, has dedicated 31 years to Wellesley. During this time, Flick has taught a wide array of courses, has served on numerous campus committees, and has been committed to best practices in teaching chemistry. Even those students who have not known Flick as a teacher have known him as the talented jazz saxophonist who leads the baccalaureate procession. Flick, thank you for your long-standing commitment to Wellesley College. Vicki Mistako, Professor of French, has taught at Wellesley for 45 years. In that time, she has dedicated herself to her students, sharing with them her love of France and the French language. She is a distinguished scholar in the field of women's writing in French and Francophone literature, and the scope of her knowledge is very impressive. Vicki, thank you for your career dedication to Wellesley College. I would also like to recognize these three people. John Babington, head coach of cross country and track, 19 years of service. Kenneth Lowett, theater production manager, 19 years of service. Carol Ann Paul, senior instructor in neuroscience laboratory, 30 years of service. I ask all the faculty who are retiring this year to stand again as we express our appreciation for your dedicated service and your many contributions to Wellesley. We wish you all the best. It is now my pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, Valerie Jarrett. Valerie Jarrett is a senior advisor to President Barack Obama. She oversees the offices of public engagement and intergovernmental affairs and chairs the White House Council on Women and Girls. She has been called the other power in the West Wing by the New York Times, and she recently was named one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people of the world. She is an outspoken advocate for women and girls, championing issues that empower women, enabling them to reach their highest potential. Valerie Jarrett is a purposeful leader who is known for asking tough questions to find solutions. As Jeffrey Immelt, chairman of the board and CEO of General Electric, recently wrote, she brings clarity of thought and purpose to her work. She is a good listener who comes to the table not with some preset notion of distrust, but rather with an open mind. Before joining the Obama administration, Valerie Jarrett was the chief executive officer of the Habitat Company. She has held positions in both private and the public sector, including the chair of the Chicago Transit Board, the Commissioner of Planning and Development for the City of Chicago, and the Deputy Chief of Staff for the former Chicago Mayor Richard M. Daley. She also practiced law with two private firms. She holds a BA from Stanford University and a JD from the University of Michigan Law School. Because of her exemplary leadership and her commitment to advancing women, we are honored to welcome Valerie Jarrett as this year's commencement speaker.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Woo. Thank you for that generous introduction, President Bottomley, or should I say K-Bot, as I understand you are called. Of course, I'd like to recognize the Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, alums, all who have contributed to the extraordinary Wellesley experience. A round of applause for them, please. To the parents, the grandparents, the family, friends, without whose support and love, this day would not have been possible. Congratulations to all of you as well. And of course, the class of 2013. This is your day. And we are so deeply proud of you, not just for all you've accomplished while at Wellesley, but for all that we know that you will do in the future as you evolve from women who will to to women who do. Congratulations to you as well. So today is a very big deal for me, too. This is my first commencement address at an all-women's college. Yep. It's the first time that I've been chosen to speak by the speakers, all of you. So thank you so much. It is an honor for me to be your 135th commencement speaker. Now, knowing that some of you are tweeting and Instagramming, that adds a little pressure to the moment for me. But to keep me at ease, I brought along two of my dearest peeps who are also cousins. Hillary Baltimore and Kelly Dibble, both Wellesley alums. And they've even brought their daughters, Hannah, age 11, Isabel and Jessica, both age 14. Yep, brought them along. In fact, I overheard them telling their daughters that after the commencement, they're heading over to Tower Court and then the library, checking out the view of Lake Waban. Not very subtle, are they, moms? I think they're going to be applying here, too. Now, my cousins have been sharing tales with me about Wellesley for more years than they would care for me to mention. And through their stories, I've grown to appreciate just how special your time here has been. This is a magical place that for 4 years has nurtured, challenged, motivated, and empowered you. You've mastered academic rigor of the highest degree, enriched with countless deeply meaningful conversations that have changed your minds and changed the minds of others. You've developed an insatiable curiosity, intellectual curiosity, that will lead to a lifelong love of learning. You've trayed down the hill, rolled hoops, stepped, sung, laughed, cried, and grown, all with friends who I am confident you will treasure for life. And today you've earned a diploma that codifies not just how much you know, but it also reflects who you have become. Now, when I think back on my own college days compared with yours, there are a few things that are different. I wore bell-bottoms, you wear skinny jeans. I listened to Diana Ross, still do. You danced to Beyonce. When I was in college, we didn't have cell phones or even call waiting, which made it easy to duck calls you didn't want to have. A tumbler was something that we used for cocktails. The only Facebook page that I had was in my yearbook, and Congress was full of too many men who thought they should decide how to make decisions for women. Well, I guess some things haven't changed. So today is, of course, your commencement, a new beginning of the next phase of your life. And if you're feeling anything like I was in my early 20s, you're a little bit uncertain about what lies ahead. The truth is, you're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to fail, you're going to succeed. But I hope that you'll discover, sooner rather than later, how to live life on your terms. And to get started, I'll share some of the advice from lessons that I've learned, often the hard way, along my journey since I was in your seats a long, long, long time ago. So, let's begin. First, you got to be flexible. If you're willing to be flexible, you will find your true passion. So don't restrict your options and limit your potential with arbitrary, self-imposed deadlines. During my senior year of college, I made what I thought was the perfect plan. First, I'd head straight to law school. Then I would find and marry the love of my life by the time I was 26. Have my first baby by 30, ever mindful of my biological clock, and make partner at a great law firm by the age of 31. That was my plan. Well, I went straight to law school. I married the figurative boy next door. After practicing for 3 years at an excellent law firm, I moved to another firm that I thought was even more prestigious. My daughter was born just before my 29th birthday. Right on schedule, huh? Well, not so fast. By 30, I was separated from my husband, and the same year, I clearly remember sitting in my lovely office with a magnificent view and staring at a very lucrative paycheck and bursting into tears because I was miserable. So I had a decision to make. Keep following my plan, that perfect plan, or be honest with myself and search for my true passion. A year earlier, at the recommendation of Jean Allard, a senior woman partner at my firm and my first real mentor, I had participated in a Young Leaders program that exposed me to a diverse range of business and civic and political leaders, all working to make Chicago better. That experience motivated me to finally consider public service. So I took a leap of faith, and I began my career in the public sector. I moved out of that cushy office and into a tiny cubicle with a view facing an alley. But from my very first day, I knew that I was right where I belonged. And as a bonus, 4 years later, I hired a brilliant young lawyer with whom I instantly bonded because she too had become just disenchanted with the law firm life, and she wanted to serve her community. Her name was Michelle Robinson. And when we met, she was engaged to this skinny guy with a funny name named Barack Obama. And the rest, well, you know the rest. Now, I'm not promising that if you join local government that you'll make friends with the future president of the United States of America, but I do encourage you all to consider public service at some point in your career, either through a full-time government position or through part-time community service. Goodness knows we would all be a lot better off if there were more women in Congress. But the lesson really is it is so healthy to explore so that you may discover unanticipated detours that will actually hasten your achievement of your dreams. Do not blindly ignore opportunities to change course, and certainly do not let others impose their priorities on you. Right. From the neurobiologist who becomes an author of children's books, to the editor of Law Review, who I know so well, who decided to run for state senate, to the mother of 3 who decides to go back to school when her children are older because she always dreamed of being a doctor, to the mom or dad who decides to scale back their responsibilities at work in order to spend more time with their children. These are not decisions that should be judged by others. These are decisions that reflect the choices that people make living their own lives. But to do this requires you to push beyond that comfort zone and to be resilient, which is my second lesson. Please be resilient. I guarantee that everyone here who challenges the status quo, you're going to face criticism, you're going to face disappointment and setbacks. Change is hard, very hard, as we have learned. You'll make mistakes, you'll fail, you'll face rejection. In fact, if you never slip and fall, I would say that you're being too cautious. Don't let fear debilitate you. And, for example, I used to be petrified of public speaking. Hard to believe, right? I avoided it at all costs until I landed a big job where one of my principal responsibilities was public speaking. Well, fear of failure motivated me to practice over and over and over again, and slowly I began to realize that just because I was nervous did not mean I had to show it. And over time, what once took courage, I now enjoy. And you don't have to turn every one of life's injustices into a thing. No matter how hard you may try, not everyone is going to like you or even like what you have to say or show you the respect that you have shown one another during your time here at Wellesley. I remember this every single time I look at my Twitter feed, which is daily. You will inevitably encounter people, both professionally and in your personal life, who try to shine at your expense and undermine you wherever they can. They'll deliberately try to hold you back and break your spirit. Be patient, keep focused on doing your best, shrug, laugh, bounce back, and over the long haul, you'll earn your colleagues' respect, your bosses will recognize your talents, and your true friends will reveal themselves. And if they don't respect you after you've given it a fair shot, go back to lesson number 1. Be flexible, move on, prove them wrong. The best possible revenge is success. You're going to discover criticism is just a necessary price that you pay for success. My dear friend, some of you may have heard of, Sheryl Sandberg. She wrote a book intended to stimulate a broader conversation around the importance of women leaning in. Now, she has had to withstand an avalanche of criticism, some of it from people who I'm not actually sure have even read her book. But the conversation has begun, and the book is a bestseller. That's success. You will also inevitably face adversity. I know that you have suffered the loss of a classmate this year, and perhaps other loved ones during your short life. And the world watched the Boston Marathon bombing with horror. And as a mom, I wish I could spare you from the inevitable pain that you're going to face. But what always amazes me is the resilience of the human spirit. In class of 2013, your spirit will always be stronger because of the relationships that you have formed right here. Right here. And it's the importance of relationships that brings me to my third and final point. Pace yourselves. For those of you who are wondering if you can have it all, the answer is yes. But there is a catch. The arc of life is long, so don't expect to have it all at the same time. Just as you must affirmatively choose to follow your passion and develop a very thick skin, you may also have to adjust your lifestyle if, for example, you decide to switch careers and begin working your way to the top again. You may decide not to have children because you love the fast pace and you want to travel with your job. You may see some of your classmates achieve success in their careers faster than you because you decided to stay home with your children for a few years. Don't look at your decisions as sacrifices. They are choices that just simply illustrate your priorities. You have choices because you stand on the shoulders of others who have given you the ability to choose. It is a rare privilege for all of you who are seated here today. So make sure that you reach back and afford others that same opportunity. We must also recognize that we are human. Am I the first to tell you that? We're not actually superhuman. We might be a tad bit better than men, but we're not superhuman. Had to say that. So don't be your own worst enemy. When my generation finished college, many of my classmates, both men and women, thought that earlier generations of women had led demonstrations and forged court battles and blazed trails and broken glass ceilings, all so that we women could compete equally with men in the workplace, while also continuing the traditional role of being the primary person responsible for taking care of our children, parents, and men. That was the wrong lesson. That was the wrong lesson. I spent my 20s and 30s taking great pride in trying to be superwoman, proving to both myself and to others that I could do everything. Most days I felt I was barely holding on by my fingertips, in fear of dropping one of the thousands of balls I was juggling at once. I rarely made time for a casual movie or dinner with my friends. I barely ever exercised, and it showed, or curled up on the couch to read a mystery story. All my favorite ways of relaxing when I was in college. Multitasking became the norm, not even relaxing during rare vacations or just taking a moment to breathe. That mindset caused me nothing but stress and anxiety and guilt, and I often felt I wasn't doing anything particularly well. Yet I refused to ask for help. Fortunately, after the reality check of dropping a ball or two, I began to understand that having it all doesn't mean doing it all. Competing on an even playing field requires you to create your own field with teammates that respect and support what it takes for you to be healthy and whole. But you see, this is where you already have an upper hand, class of 2013. You understand the importance of women supporting other women. And this lesson is going to become even more valuable as you grow older, whether at home, at work, or in your personal life. You're going to need to lean on others, and let me explain. As soon as I finally learned to ask for help, my parents were right there. I was very lucky. My dream job at the city often meant leaving early in the morning and working late at night, and my dad took my daughter to and from school every day, and my mom would read to my daughter in bed until I could rush home to tuck her in. Without their support, I could never have thrived in such a demanding job. But having women at work in whom you can confide, completely trust, and who have your back is just as important. You all know my current boss, and I'll have more to say about him in just a moment. But here's a story about an earlier boss, Mayor Daley. He's a somewhat intimidating figure to most, still is. And soon after he promoted me, he convened a meeting with a few members of his cabinet, including Susan Schur, who was a corporation counsel and one of my dearest friends, and also a single mom at the time. Throughout the meeting, we kept looking at our watches and at each other, and finally he interrupted the conversation, and he gave us one of those piercing stares, and he asked us if there was somewhere else more important that we needed to be. Well, I didn't know what to say, and I looked across at Susan, and she looked back at me, and I finally blurted out, Susan and I both have second graders, and their Halloween parade starts in 20 minutes. And it's 25 minutes away. We then braced ourselves, not having any idea what the mayor might say, but without a second's hesitation, he replied, well, then what are you doing here? Get moving. Parents, you can imagine the relief. You simply won't have the heart for the long haul if you have to sneak around or pretend that you do not have a meaningful life outside of work. But with Susan there, without Susan there, I'm not sure that I would have had the courage to speak up. And that would have been a huge mistake, which my daughter would be reminding me of to this day. My experience so long ago has always motivated me to want to consciously create an environment at work where those on my team know that I value and respect their responsibilities at home so that they are comfortable telling me what they really need in order to be whole. Susan, my cousin Kelly, who's here, who I mentioned, and a strong network of other women with whom I have worked have encouraged me, promoted me, consoled me, protected me, and been my strongest advocates when I barely had a voice of my own. And always remember, in the words of your very famous alum, Madeleine Albright, and I quote her, there is a very special place in hell for women who do not help other women. Now, it also helps to have a support from the top. And there's no secret how I feel about my current boss. He was raised by a single mom, married a strong and gifted woman, and tries mightily to ensure that his daughters will be able to reach for the sky with the wind at their back. He takes great pride that the very first bill he signed when he became president was the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act that strengthens a woman's ability to get equal pay. And also, right off the bat in his second term, he signed the reauthorization of the Violence Against Women Act. A couple of months after first taking office, he created the White House Council on Women and Girls that I am so proud to chair. And he has prioritized appointing women to key positions from his only 2 appointments on the Supreme Court to his cabinet, including our outstanding former Secretary of State, also your alum, Hillary Clinton. He supports policies that encourage girls to take courses that will lead to careers in STEM fields. He promotes workplace flexibility by leading by example. He has made ending human trafficking a top priority, both at home and abroad. And of course, he's a relentless protector of a woman's ability to care for and control her own body, including graduates, a provision under the new Affordable Care Act that allows you to stay on your parents' insurance until you're 26. Also, under the health care plan, being a woman is no longer a pre-existing condition, which will jack up your rates. Insurance companies can no longer charge you higher premiums just because of that. And you have preventive health services, including, yes, birth control at no additional cost. as you are now surrounded, and I mean surrounded, by the lifelong friends who you've made here at Wellesley. You must keep that effort up when you leave. For when life gets messy and painful, they will be the rock of support. It'll come from your family, your friends, your coworkers, in who you have invested the most precious commodity, time and love. Solid and reliable relationships are indispensable, and they are not merely sustained by checking Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. While I admit that I wish that the social media existed earlier so that I could keep up with some of my former classmates from school, there's no better substitute for a meal or a long phone call with your best friend. Whether it's the weekly brunches that Kelly and I have with some of my best girlfriends or my one-on-one dinners with my cousin Hillary, I always feel replenished and strengthened afterwards and prepared for the daunting demands that follow. Be flexible, be resilient, and pace yourselves. Our country needs you. In fact, the world needs you. Woo is right. Every last thing that you have to offer. Our challenges ahead are great, but so too are the opportunities for positive change that I know you'll create if you remember not to only minister unto, but to minister. I know that you have found your voices, class of 2013, and now there are no limits to the good you can do if only you have the courage to use them. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Valerie. Now, let me say a few words directly to the seniors. Seniors, class of 2013, here you are at last. Congratulations. After you walk across the stage and receive your diplomas, you will no longer be Wellesley students. But you will always be the green, or I should say the emerald class of 2013. This is an important day for you and for your families and loved ones. You have been waiting a long time for this day. Your parents have also been waiting a long time for this day. Those final papers have been written, the last exams are over, that thesis you spent all year researching, writing and rewriting is done. Everything is done. It's hard to believe. Enjoy this moment. You worked hard for it. You earned it. You, your families, and your friends have every right to be proud. You are all accomplished individuals. Among the class of 2013, we have Fulbright Scholars, a Watson Fellow, Wellesley's first Whitaker International Fellow, a national champion runner, not to mention many others, including scholar athletes, artists, musicians, scientists, philosophers, and debaters. We treasure and encourage your singularity, your uniqueness. It is our collective strength. But today, I want to speak of the importance of your togetherness. You have been a wonderful class. Over the last 4 years, you have left your mark on campus in ways that we will always remember. When you arrived in the fall of 2009, you helped us launch a new collaboration among Wellesley, Babson, and Olin colleges. And today we celebrate our first graduate who has completed the 3-college Sustainability Certificate program. You helped us think critically about issues of sustainability, as well as diversity and inclusion. You raised our awareness of gender identity, and you challenged us to think about our course offerings. You also helped bring back the wonderful Wellesley tradition of Founders Day. Earlier this month, You left a brightly visible imprint when you decorated this campus high and low with green streamers, green signs, green balloons. You reminded us that you were still here. You needn't have worried. We will not forget you, the green class of 2013, and you will not forget Wellesley. You arrived at the height of the economic crisis, and you leave Wellesley in the year of the debate on gun control and same-sex marriage. Together, you learned about and experienced the fiercely contested presidential election last November, the ongoing political unrest in the Middle East and Northern Africa, earthquakes in Haiti and the tsunami in Japan, the BP oil spill, and many other global events that shaped your thinking and beliefs. The importance of your togetherness became exceptionally clear this year when you came together after we lost one of our own, Ade Asefa, and also following the tragic events at the Boston Marathon. We turned to one another, we supported one another, because we are a community that cares deeply for one another. As a class, you have been through much together, and it has created an important bond. The friendships you have formed here, the connections you have made, the relationships you have forged in this community with the staff you saw every day, with your professors, with your classmates, and with those in your residence halls, those bonds are permanent. And what you may not realize, those bonds are important and will continue to be important, especially as you begin your journey. And what an historic and exciting moment it is to be starting out. 50 years ago, even 30 years ago, for example, we could only dream about a woman U.S. Secretary of State. But in your lifetime, it has been a common occurrence for a woman to hold that position. Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't point out that 2/3 of them have been Wellesley women. Indeed, you have grown up in a time when more and more women have held influential positions in national public office, such as Supreme Court justices, as National Security Advisor, as Attorney General, and yes, as Senior Advisor to the President of the United States. Women have continued to reach important milestones in public office around the world. This year, we celebrated the swearing in of a record number of women in the U.S. Congress. Last year, we cheered as the French government achieved gender parity for the first time in its history. Women increasingly serve as role models in the private sector as well. Marissa Mayer at Yahoo, Sheryl Sandberg at Facebook, Ursula Burns at Xerox, and Wellesley's own Gracia Mattore at Gannett. Women are increasingly taking the lead in academia, in the nonprofit sector, and on local issues. Much progress has been made, but you know as I do, and as Valerie Jarrett just mentioned, there is still much work to be done to achieve gender equality. Women represent half the world's population, yet less than 5% of the Fortune 500 companies are led by women, and only 20% of parliament seats around the world are held by women. If we are to see positive changes in the world, we must develop, empower, and support women for leadership. You may not want to be Secretary of State or an advisor to the President or a Supreme Court Justice or a CEO. You may not know right now what you want to be. Your job is to figure out what you are good at and what you enjoy. In doing that, you should know this. Whatever it is you want to be, it is possible. It is possible because of who you are and because of your Wellesley education. It is possible because of the women who came before you and the network of people who helped them. Today, you are Wellesley students. Tomorrow, you will be Wellesley alums, connected not only to your class of 600, but to 36,000 Wellesley alumni all over the world who, believe me, love to help out fellow alums. In very important ways, they are like you. As you meet them around the world, you will notice your family resemblance. This network of women is considered the most powerful women's network in the world, and it is yours to take advantage of. Use it, become a part of it, take from the network, and then give back to the network to help the next generation of Wellesley alums. As you achieve your goals, help your younger and older Wellesley siblings achieve theirs. That is how it works. It has been working so well for so many years. Accept help from those who came before you. Give help to those who come after you. Pay it forward. Make it an easier world for as many people as you can. Whatever you do, wherever you are, be a force. Few as they may be, the women who hold top positions in Fortune 500 companies or as heads of state haven't gotten there by accident. They are where they are in part because they have benefited from mentors and a network of support. Whether you hope to have a career in the public sector or the private sector, whether you hope to be an entrepreneur or an artist, a scientist or a poet, you can't do it alone. Groups are important. Networks are crucial. Life is a collaborative activity. Be part of a group that challenges you and inspires you, a group that supports you, a group that cushions your downs and cheers your ups. Support networks have long been crucial for women's success. Gender parity isn't going to happen overnight, but we will get there. I hope it will be in your lifetime. Wellesley alums helping other Wellesley alums, utilizing our networks and connections is one small way we can get there faster. Let me finish with these thoughts. Whatever you want to achieve, remember this. Your goal is just a destination. The journey toward that goal is your life. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your journey. As you think about your future career in life, wherever your journey may take you, I urge you to greet new experiences with an open mind, because you never know where they're going to lead. Barbara Lubin Goldsmith, Wellesley class of 1953 and a recipient of the 2013 Alumni Achievement Award, gives this advice. Take the first bus. That is, grab that opportunity that comes your way and turn it into what you want it to be. I can't predict what path your life will take, nor can you. But I do know that on that path, you will bump into many Wellesley alumni. You can count on that. Tomorrow, you will no longer be a Wellesley student. But I want you to take this last thought and carry it with you always. You are Wellesley. You will always be Wellesley. This will always be your campus. You will always belong here. Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2013. Seniors, this is the moment you have been waiting for. Provost Shannon will now present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts. Will you, go ahead. Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts please rise?
In the commencement program, we have listed honors and prizes earned by many of our seniors. Although we will not read honors, as we call names for diplomas, we draw the attention of families and friends to this list and invite you to share our pride in the many achievements of these students. In addition, we recognize 9 student athletes who are unable to be at today's ceremony because they are representing Wellesley at the NCAA National Championship competitions in crew. They are Taylor Alexandra Black, Aidan Relindsay Chambers, Rachel Lynn Coogan, Jessica E. Fry, Catherine C. Goffin, Jennifer Lammy, Aline Pearson, Tess Regan Ruderman, Patricia Suqualanda. Madam President, it is the privilege of my office to present to you, on behalf of the faculty of Wellesley College, the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts.
By the authority of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, vested in the Board of Trustees, and by them delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts and admit you to all the rights, dignities, and responsibilities of that degree.
Grace Abuhamid, Francesca Rebecca Acocella, Afia Jendei Addison, Jane Elizabeth Adkins, Akofa Ama Ahiable, Alia Ahmad, Najira Ahmed, Sama Ahmed, Caroline Emmanuel Alix, Mohsin Rahim Al-Shemari, Sarah Al-Thari, Mariam Amir Sadari, Zie An, Alyssa Marie Andres, Risa Diana Antwi, Marisol Francisca Adon, Aliyah Agu, Karen M. Arnold, Julia Lynn Amatorio, Joanna Muldowney Asher, Misbah Aslam,